Hello and welcome to e-GMAT. We will solve question number 105 of OG Verbal second edition by using e-GMAT three-step process. In the first step, we will understand the meaning of the sentence. In the second, we will evaluate the errors in the sentence, and finally, we will review all the answer choices to get to the correct answer. So let's begin. The physical structure of the human eye enables it to sense light of wavelengths up to 0.0005 millimeters. Infrared radiation, however, is invisible because its wavelength 0.1 millimeters is too long to be registered by the eye. This sentence presents a contrast, and the word however is the marker of that contrast. The sentence says that the physical structure of the human eye is such that we can see light of wavelengths of up to 0.0005 millimeters. But we cannot see infrared radiation because its wavelength, which is 0.1 millimeters, is too long for human eye to register. Now let us evaluate the errors by splitting this sentence into its clauses. So here comes the first clause. The physical structure of the human eye enables it to sense light of wavelengths up to 0.0005 millimeters. Here the physical structure of the human eye is the subject and enables is the verb. Now, the human eye cannot be the subject in this clause because it lies in the prepositional phrase that modifies the physical structure. Being the head of the phrase, the physical structure will decide the number of the verb. Since the physical structure is in singular, it takes singular verb enables. After millimeters, we have a subject-verb pair, which means we have another clause here that reads, infrared radiation, however, is invisible because here infrared radiation is the subject and is the verb. After because, we have another subject-verb pair, which means we have another clause that reads, its wavelength, 0.1 millimeters, is too long to be registered by the eye. Here, its wavelength is the subject and is the verb. In the underlined portion of the sentence, subject infrared radiation makes sense as well as agrees in number with the verb is, and so does the subject its wavelength with the verb is. So we do not have any subject-verb pair error here. Since the sentence is giving general information about infrared radiation, use of simple present tense is in both the cases is correct. So we do not have any verb tense error here as well. Pronoun its correctly refers to infrared radiation. So we do not have any pronoun error as well. The sentence uses the correct idiom too long to be registered. So we do not have any idiom error as well. There is no parallelism error here, no modifier error, and no meaning error. So this sentence has no errors and is correct as is. So let us run the POE now to find out why the other answer choices are not correct. Well, choice B is not correct because in absence of a comma, verb ing making now illogically refers to I, meaning that the eye makes infrared radiation invisible. This modifier usage distorts the meaning of the sentence and makes choice B incorrect. Choice C is incorrect because pronoun it does not have a clear referent. It seems to be referring to both infrared radiation as well as wavelength. So this ambiguity makes choice C incorrect. Choice D is incorrect because here verb invisible makes no sense at all. Now pronoun it refers to wavelength and there are two verbs for it. The first one is it, that stands for wavelength, is too long for the eye to register. It is correct, and as we saw in the original sentence also, that wavelength is too long for the eye to register. But in the second verb, it wavelength is thus invisible is incorrect. It is not the wavelength which is invisible. It is actually the infrared radiation which is invisible. Thus, this verb invisible does not make any sense in this choice, and thus this choice is incorrect. Let's take a look at choice E now. Well, choice E does not communicate the contrast very well. Note that the original choice indicates that human eye can see light of wavelengths up to certain size, but infrared light is invisible because its wavelength is too long. This choice, however, presents an illogical contrast. The first part is the same as that in the original choice, but the contrasting part per this choice is that infrared light has a wavelength of 0.1 millimeters, and this wavelength is too long for the eye to register, and this makes this light invisible. So as we can understand here, the focus from the fact that infrared light is invisible has been shifted to the fact that infrared light has 0.1 millimeters wavelength. This makes choice E incorrect. So as we found out earlier, during the error analysis itself, choice A is the correct answer. This brings us to the takeaway messages now. We must use correct punctuations for modifiers to convey the intended logical meaning of the sentence. Also, every pronoun in the sentence must have a clear referent. The correct choice must communicate the logical intended meaning of the sentence. In this sentence, the logical contrast must be presented. The concepts tested in this sentence have been covered in e-GMAT concepts, Level 1 modifiers verb ing and Level 1 pronouns.